Today on the channel, let's return to the Kyle Peterson Top 5, and in today's video, we're counting down my Top 5 Paul Heyman figures of all time.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, a Thursday tradition here on this very YouTube channel. As every single Thursday, we're counting down my top 5 and occasionally top 10 favorites of something. And today in the crosshairs, we got Paul E Dangerously, Paul Heyman, whatever you want to call him. We know him as one of the greatest managers of all time when the dust will finally settle. ECW founder, kinda Todd Gordon, you know what I mean though. Leader of the ECW revolution. Paul E Dangerously back in WCW, Memphis, and all points in between. Just an all-timer over the last couple of decades in the wrestling industry. And a guy no stranger to action figures and starting to kind of rev up a little bit. We've had a few recent releases of Paul Heyman. Have to imagine we might see some more in the near future as well. But one of the greatest managers of all time. It'll be really interesting. You know, once it's said and done, and he's done, like a Bobby Heenan and Jim Cornette, I guess. Where will Paul E fit in that? Could he be a top fiver? Could he be a Mount Rushmore member of the Managers Club? Guess we'll see what happens. Of course, currently with Roman Reigns, been with the Bloodline the last couple of years. Obviously, the most success he's ever had in the industry would have to be the last couple of years. But me personally, the Paul E days and, of course, the Paul E Dangerously days, where I came to really grow to love Paul Heyman. So an interesting list this one will be. And as usual, this is my list. Get your list together, put it in the comments down below. Make sure you put them in order. Start at number 5, working your way to number 1. The number 1 is your favorite Paul E figure of all time. So without further ado, get your list together and let's get after it. Start off at number 5. We begin the countdown at number 5 with a toy line that has the most Paul E figures, at least as of right now. We'll see. I would imagine Mattel will overtake that sooner rather than later. But we're going to Jakks. We're going to Adrenaline Series 11 with the 2-pack with Heidenreich for Paul Heyman. And this Heyman is a really good one. Got the pinstripe suit going on. Of course, the patented backwards baseball hat that he is known for many, many years. Got the ponytail hanging out the back. You get the microphone accessories because Paul, man, he's always on that stick talking to somebody. But this is a very interesting, really ruthless aggression era Paul E Dangerously, Paul Heyman, Paul E, whatever we're going to call him at the time. Paul E, I guess, is probably where he was right here. But Paul Heyman, of course, quite the manager, and around this time, really known for his time with Brock Lesnar. And up till Roman Reigns, that's kind of what a lot of people thought of with Paul E, was his time with Brock Lesnar. But of course, Heidenreich in the mix there. An interesting time. He was on creative, he was on commentary, he was managing. He was all over the place during the Ruthless Aggression era. But a very cool version of him as he kind of went from the Paul E Dangerously to the Paul Heyman we know today. This is a little bit of that transition period. And I always did enjoy this figure. Always thought it stood out with the pinstripe suit. So that's one of the reasons, and the reason, he's coming in at number 5 in my top 5 list. Next up on the countdown, of course, number 4. And this time we take a trip to Mattel. We take a trip to Toys R Us for the Best of Pay-Per-View series Build-A-Figure Paul E. And an interesting one here, of course, the usual suited body we got with a lot of these Build-A-Figures over the years. Gray suit on him. Not a lot outside of the head that really stands out about this one, but the head is the maniacal, evil Paul E, Paul Heyman. I don't even know what to call him. I'm all over the place. I'm calling him all of his different names. I guess that's the way it goes here. But he's got that little ponytail, and man, the hair is just fading fast. Fading fast right here. But a beautiful manager edition of Paul E that we got for the first time ever from Mattel. Of course, Build-A-Figure's always cool to bring us, maybe not some of the tip-top stars, but some of these managers, announcers, referees, other things, and that's what we got here with that Toys R Us exclusive line of the pay-per-view series. A very good figure, and up until recent years, possibly his best Mattel figure, but a few things have changed, and we're going to get into those as we continue on this countdown. But at number 4, Toys R Us Best of Pay-Per-View series. We've hit the halfway point in our Paul E countdown. You got your list together. Make sure you put it in the comments down below. And remember, every single Thursday on this channel, we got a countdown video. So make sure you do subscribe. But now we're at the number 3 selection. And number 3, I think for a lot of people doing this countdown and playing along at home in the comments, this will probably be their number 1 Paul Heyman figure of all time. Can't really argue it. It's your list, just like you can't argue my list. But for me, it's going to be number 3, and we go back about a year, give or take. We're going to the 3-pack Amazon exclusive Paul Heyman, our most recent Paul Heyman figure here, of course, a member of the Bloodline. This is from the Roman, Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman 3-pack Amazon exclusive that later went to, I think it was TJ Maxx at a cheap price. Wild time 2023. But a very good modern take on Paul Heyman. This is the one you need with your Bloodline. If you got a display, this is the one to use in all honesty. A very, very good elite figure here. Beautiful updates. Got to imagine we're going to see this re-released in kind of some different color variants, things like that. I think there's some meat on the bone for this one. Those that missed out on the exclusive, I could see this being moved into one of the other lines, maybe a pay-per-view series, maybe an exclusive line again, or just the regular old elite line. A very, very good Paul Heyman figure, and that's why it's coming in at number 3 in my top 5 countdown. Getting dangerously close to the top spot as we're at the number 2 Paul Heyman figure of all time. And I guess we should call this one Paul E. Is this one we go back to Jack's Ruthless Aggression. We go to Ring Rage Series 24.5 for Paul E. Of course, ECW to the extreme right here. And he's got that classic ECW trench coat. That's what brings this one to the next level for me. Of course, the ECW hat always helps. He's got the headgear on. This is him running the show at ECW. My favorite time, of course, for Paul Heyman, Paul E Dangerously. You get it. We've talked about it before. But the big trench coat, a staple of his ECW appearances, a staple of the ECW hat, microphone, headphones. He's ready to run the show. He's ready to get it all done. And this one is Jack's specific one, as I did mention, from the Ring Rage Series 24.5. If I had to guess, I would imagine we could possibly get one of these in the Mattel Elite line in the next couple of years. I could see it. I think it would be an easy one to do. It would be a popular one. It'd be a day one purchase for me and a lot of other people out there. But this one will have to do for now. A very fun one on my ECW Jack shelf. Paulie Dangerously, Ring Rage 24.5 at number 2, which means there can only be one left. What is it going to be? Well, stay tuned. All right, we've reached the end of the countdown here. We're at the number 1 Paul E figure of all time as voted by me. Once again, put your list in the comments down below. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe as we got videos every single day and countdowns every single Thursday on this very YouTube channel. But the number 1 Paul E, and in this instance, Paul E Dangerously figure of all time is Legends Series 18. Of course, the Target exclusive and a little bit of a rare boy here, as we've seen a lot of Target Legends go to clearance over the years. Not a lot of Paul E Dangerously. He didn't seem to ship in the same amounts of some of the other ones in those waves, which I did find to be pretty interesting. So a little bit rarer, a little harder to find, and of course, Paul E Dangerously is where I became a Paul E fan. Way back in the 80s, I think my first real memory of him was managing the Samoan SWAT team, and very conveniently enough, those did come in the Target line as well, so you can pair that old trio up once again. The start of the Bloodline, you could say, in a lot of ways, but very, very cool to get this old school classic Paul E. Love the suit, love the skinnier body, love the mullet, love the Zach Morris style cell phone. Man, it's bringing it all back home like a young Bob Dylan at the end of the day with that. Just a fabulous, fabulous looking figure. A real fun one. A real deep cut all these years later is when people think of Paul Heyman, they think of the Bloodline, maybe Brock Lesnar, maybe ECW, but it seems like fewer and fewer are remembering the old glory Paul E Dangerously days. Definitely a game changer. Feuding with Missy Hyatt, all that fun stuff. Bringing back a lot of memories and a very fun figure, which I am happy to have in my collection. So Paul E Dangerously, that is, coming in at number 1, Target Legend Series 18. But what is your top 5? Once again, put it in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to this very YouTube channel. We got videos every single day and even more content, of course, on Patreon. Patreon, get early access to both YouTube channels' videos, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, you name it, all going on down there on the old Patreon channel. And, of course, you can also support the channel at PreslingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget social media, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram. So for Paul E Dangerously, top 5, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.